With regards to Holland or Belgium, it was really an eye-opener for me how open and active the exchanges between me and the club coaches, and I really think that's a strength that we have that's unique to our system.
The Euro Hockey Daily podcast is brought to you by XPS. Plan, prepare, perform and win with XPS by SidelineSports.com. The essential software platform for hockey coaches all over the world. Not just for coaches here at the European Championship, but for all ambitious coaches eager to improve every day. A must-have tool for clubs who want to track the development of their homegrown talents. For more info, check out xps.promo/hockey. Welcome to the Euro Hockey Daily.
Hi, we're together here with Xavier Reckinger, the Belgian coach of the German national women's team, and we're in his hotel lobby. Was this your first technical choice to choose the only team, I think, an hotel outside of the city and not one of the official hotels?
Yeah, it's always a theme, The hotel, I think it's important that you have a good feeling where you're staying. I prefer to be in a quiet place for an intensive tournament. So during the World Cup last year we stayed inside London because I thought it was important that when you have 3 days between games that players have something to do.
Yeah.
I think this sort of tournament's totally the opposite. You have 2 games and then every second game you have a day we can train here just around the corner. So it's more relaxed, it's quiet.
It's more get into your cocoon and for the entire tournament.
And it's easier to come runter, like they say in German. You
cool
can relax.
down.
Yeah, exactly. It's just more relaxing, I guess.
Last year has been a special year, I think, with the entire team. You've traveled literally the 4 corners of the world. You've been from Argentina to New Zealand. You've been from China to the US. How special is it now to do a European Championship in your own hometown, Antwerp?
Oh, it's very special. For me, it's got this extra edge, of course, to be. I mean, I live literally between the hotel and the pitch, and we only drive 10 minutes to the pitch, so that says a lot. I had to laugh when I heard Thomas Briels say it's in our backyard, because it's also in my backyard. Yeah. But I take distance from that because my role here is to be the coach, and for the girls it's a different spot, and so I just mingle in that, and I'm in tournament mode. And once you're in tournament mode, then it doesn't really matter if it's in your backyard or if it's far away on the other side of the world.
Yeah. Okay. As most teams, I suppose you want to avoid the Netherlands in a possible semi-final. But who will be your biggest rival for the first spot in your own pool? England, reigning Olympic championships, or Ireland, silver medalist at the World Cup?
Yeah, it's an interesting group, isn't it? Look, it's a good question. I think, obviously, like all the teams, the first goal is to reach the semis. I personally don't know really a lot about England, and probably a little bit more because of the Pro League. But I think with Mark now they've had a few weeks extra to develop, and I think
to change things up.
And you start seeing his impact. With Sean, I got no clue. I got no footage whatsoever. I got nothing. So it'll be interesting to see how Ireland's now, regrouping and what they're doing since their World Cup. So there's a lot of unknowns there. But it also makes it easier in a way because then we just focus on our own performances. And I think if we play our best hockey, then I think we have potential to be first. But of course, you want to avoid Holland, but in the end, if you want to win the tournament, and you got to beat everyone. So let's start with Belarus first, and then England's on Monday, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You've worked in 2 smaller countries before, Holland and Belgium, or smaller in terms of geographics. I mean, in that case, what are the challenges for a coach in a geographically bigger country like Germany, where not all of your players are within, let's say, 1 hour driving distance?
Yeah. Well, there's many. I think every system's got its challenges. Every system works differently. Focusing a little bit on the geographical aspect, the managing side of things is much more important because we're not centralized. We do that on purpose because the league's very important to us.
Yes.
And for me, it's really important that the players develop individually, but in their own region. And so I have a lot of support from the coaches in every region. I have a lot of exchange with regards to Holland or Belgium. It was really an eye-opener for me how open and active the exchanges between
club coaches
me and the club coaches, and I really think that's a strength that we have that's unique to our system. But on the other side, I also have the privilege to bring my own knowledge of the both systems that I knew before into this new one and take some of the positive things that we can actually implement there. So it's just a good symbiosis of everything.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Looking ahead at this tournament, what will be? Who do you think will play the finals here, both men and women's tournament?
The men, I think Belgium's the favorite, and then I think it'll be Germany with them. And then I'm really looking forward to that game because I think it's going to be a tough one for Belgium then.
Yeah.
Even though they got the best team for sure, but I think in a final, they beat Germany 8-0 last time. That really hurt, and they're going to get them back.
Revenge.
Exactly. With the women, I would say that Holland is by far the favourites, and then I think that there's many countries underneath. A lot of nations are pushing us a little bit up there now as well, which is a compliment for the work we've achieved. I don't mind it, so I hope we'll be there. Probably I have to say we're
live up to expectations.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's a short tournament. I experienced last year at the World Cup as well that you can play well and still lose. So it's a tough tournament. I think Holland, and then I'm not sure I'd put my hand in the oven yet to say who's going to be the other nation.
Okay. There were lots of priorities this year for your players with Pro League, with club hockey, with European club hockey, with now this European Cup, maybe Olympic qualifiers after this. How do you manage so many peak moments in a short year?
You plan.
Yeah.
You plan and you talk with your players, you talk with your staff. The staff's done an unbelievable job in managing things. And to be honest, things are not going to get easier next year with the Olympics. We have a very, very, very bad draw with the Pro League. But the cards are dealt, and I think that's
lots of traveling.
Well, the 5 weeks before our departure to the Olympics. Well, it's not exactly true. So the last 5 weeks, the last week of May and the full month of June were away.
Ouch, yeah.
With trips to Argentina and the USA.
Yeah.
So it's
the good opposition, but lots of traveling.
Being 5 weeks away,
yeah.
And then being 3.5 weeks away during the Olympics, it's too much.
Yeah.
You need to be home as well.
Yeah.
So we're trying to see how we can solve that. But we just planned well, and to be honest, it worked out quite well. There's a lot of things you need to consider. Your staff, we don't have full-time staff, so we need to have a big pool there.
Yeah.
So that worked out quite well. The players.
That's one thing for the staff, but the players are usually not full-time players.
Exactly. Yeah. So the players you have to manage. So what we did with the federation is we try and regroup the international games. So the league also gets a bit of attention, which is what it deserves. But you got to plan and adjust a little bit where you feel, okay, this is not ideal or this is tough, and sometimes you just got to bite through it. And probably the biggest thing is to find the moments where you can put in some recovery time, because it's going more and more NBA style and the professional sports where
travel play,
and no training anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think we've done a good job there. I also think that I trust that we will peak here, because I think we've got that pretty sorted. But we'll have to talk about that in 10 days, of course.
Yes, absolutely. You've been around the world as a hockey player yourself, and as a coach have coached in many countries also. What makes German hockey so different?
Oh, the discipline, and you say something and you stand up for it and you do it. I inherited a team that's got a very high identity like they identify themselves with the way they want to play, and they take a lot of ownership. And for me, it's really nice to have this exchange with the group, and especially with the leaders of the group, because they always feedback how the group's feeling, and they also respect when I go a little bit against it, because I want to develop them. So there's a really good exchange there, and they know that they get say in what we're doing. And if there's a disagreement, then obviously it won't go my way. But to me, it's just very important that they know why we're doing things, and they really support that as well. So they're open for new things, and the group's young. I mean, we still have a young group, even though it's young. It's got some good experience in it now.
Yes.
So that aspect is something that I have not experienced in Belgium, that I doubt is there yet. Probably with the men, because they have now a very mature team as well.
Yes.
But I haven't experienced that in Australia, New Zealand, or in Holland either. So this player is sort of responsibility of really stepping up.
The accountability of the players themselves
is really there, and that's both with the men as with women. And look, they sort of have to do it, because as I said, we're not centralized, and you don't get fed everything. You know, it's you get a feedback. Okay, you need to work on that and that and that, and then they go 6 weeks and they have to do it themselves. And compared to here,
sort out their own timing,
centralized
sort of the
systems,
planning.
you know, they get the coach and he says you got to do that, and they get the physical trainer, now you got to do that, and there they have to sort of do everything themselves. They get support, you know, in every region, but they have to organize themselves more in an individual way, and that of course creates accountability as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks very much, Xavier, for your insights here, and I wish you all the best during this European Hockey Championships in your own backyard.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Thanks.
Next up, Thomas Briels, captain of the Belgian Red Lions. Thomas, can you tell me, what are the team goals and your individual goals for this European Championship?
The team goals of Belgium are obviously to reach as far as possible into the tournament, but especially we want to play a really nice hockey in front of our own crowd. We want to share our passion for hockey and the values, and we want to make it a really cool event for the public, so everybody has a nice time while we are playing at our best, and hopefully we will reach the final, and who knows, become European Championship. That's a bit the dream of the team, but it's gonna be a really tough tournament, because we know the Europeans. It's one of the toughest tournaments to win with a lot of the best teams of the world. For me personally, I just like to play a consistent tournament and help my team in the best way I can on and off the field. And just do my role for the team.
Sure. Thomas, can you tell us, where does your passion and your love for the game come from? What makes you tick about hockey?
I really love hockey because it's a really technical sport, and it goes really fast, especially on international level. It's a physical sport, and you have to be a complete athlete to compete. I think it's a really nice sport to watch. I also love the values shared around the hockey community. And I think it's a sport for the whole family. I mean, it's for young, old, women, men. It doesn't really matter. Everybody can enjoy it on very different levels, amateur level, elite level, and everything in between. So I think it's a very cool sport with a lot of nice people, and we share all, I think, really important values for life. That's why I'm a bit hooked, I think.
Obviously, I agree. But even when you love the sport as much as we do, there's always something that can be better. You can always improve on everything. So, what would you change in hockey, and why?
What I would change in hockey and why? It's a difficult question. I really like the way it's been played now, so I wouldn't change too much of this format. Only I think certain rules can be much clearer, like the high balls. Sometimes, you don't know which way the referee will blow it, and it can change every game. So I think that's a bit unclear. And also for the public, it's sometimes difficult to understand what is happening. And if I can really dream and think outside of the box, it would be really cool if hockey would be a sport like in the States, an NFL, that we play in NFL franchises. Like imagine really one team for a big city. So you have the possibility to play every week in front of massive crowds, and I think that's really cool. If you have the opportunity to play in front of 10,000, 20,000 people, that's gives me the chills every time, and it's also a big reason why you play and you train so hard internationally. So that would be cool to have like a really big hockey competition in Europe with big franchises, but I think that we are far away from that. So that's really thinking outside of the box. But it would be a cool thing.
Thanks for listening. Join us again tomorrow for a new episode of the Euro Hockey Daily on your Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or at studiohockey.com. Enjoy your hockey. Bye bye. P.S. Don't forget, today no less than 6 games are on the board in Antwerp for this European Championship. We start at 9 o'clock in the morning when Xavier Reckinger's German national women team will take on Belarus, followed by the England-Ireland game at 11:15 also in the women's. Then the men are up at 1:30, Spain versus Wales, at 4:15, Ireland versus Scotland, and then we get 2 really big games closing off the day. They could be the semi-finals as well. At 6 o'clock it's England versus Belgium, and at 9:30 Germany versus Holland. Enjoy your hockey!